quit talking though.
Oh, okay. Wow. Guys, this is hilarious. We're talking about teams. The Richter Ensemble joined. Hello, Richter
Hello.
Ensemble. I'm waving at you.
Hi.
Yeah.
That's
so
everybody.
Norman and I are finally on vacation.
On vacation for a few days.
Yeah. After
That's
6
great.
months of being. This is something like, because we have a lot of our friends in Europe following. You know, it's so funny when you finally go home. And like for me, just when we land in North America, I consider that home. I can't tell you how different I feel, because it's just like, even though we're still working and doing all the stuff, it's like
it's just different.
the pressure is different.
Yeah.
So for all of you folks who get to like go home more frequently than 6 months or a year,
That's great.
I'm so happy for you. I hope one day it'll be like that for
I know.
you. Seriously.
I know.
I mean, it's not a complaint. It's just like, whoa.
No.
This
Yeah,
is really,
it's not it.
I'm really grateful.
And then today's glass.
Oh, yeah,
When
okay.
in the South.
Well, yeah, you need to explain where we are.
We are in Charleston, South Carolina, hence what you see behind us.
That's a real willow tree.
This is a
y'all.
willow tree
A real
and
willow.
a marsh
Yes.
right back here.
It's there.
Right in this
It's a
area.
little
Wait a minute. I
creek
gotta-
thing.
Yeah, back here. It's very difficult to be a weatherman because your arm goes the opposite of what you think it's supposed to do. But right here is a marsh, and my aunt and uncle live here. Steve and Mary Lynn Bear. Shout out to them.
Hey, guys.
Steve's over there,
Yeah,
actually.
They're actually watching
They're
us.
actually watching, sitting in
They're
their,
our
their
live
backyard.
audience.
They're our first live audience,
That's
literally
right.
in person.
Although, like,
live.
we're literally at people's backyards, so more
Yeah.
people might materialize.
We might have
as
some
we
people come out over
continue
here.
to do this talk.
Who knows who's going to show up?
So
But yeah,
we
so
try not
we
to
are
get anybody's
in
house directly in the shot.
exactly. We wanted the marsh, right?
Yes.
So we are
In the south.
in the South, and when you are in the South, you do as the South does. One of the things, anyway, and that is you drink sweet tea.
Y'all. What?
Cheers.
It's iced tea, but it's like
Iced
the
tea.
real deal, brewed,
Yeah,
like proper iced tea.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
So-
gosh. Do you
Am I too
do you-
buttoned up?
No, do you see me
Should we do
trying to
one more?
actually get the energy up? I'm like, hey.
Yes. It's really good.
I had a massage yesterday for the first time
We
in
have
6
a-
months.
We're going to talk about this. We have a physical
Yes.
therapist here. She's part of what we're talking about today, and
Which is part of why we're just like,
part of why we're like this.
especially me.
Yes.
Especially me, because you all know that I work at this like super high energy level, and so when I finally relax, it's like this.
Yeah.
Or I had a friend
And
once.
when I finally relax, I'm almost the same.
Yeah. It's true. Okay, well, let's like I want to get into a couple of things.
Yeah.
So like, first of all, last week I asked you guys, seriously, like, focus. But I've had coffee. I've had so much coffee. Focus. It's also the jet lag and
I haven't
the
had any
massage.
coffee today.
How's that possible?
This is terrible.
What?
What am I thinking?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
Okay,
Anyway,
well,
that's fine.
I asked you guys last week, this is turning into a thing, and people are watching it, and we get messages saying it's helping you guys, which
That's
is
great.
just
That's
great.
the point.
And so happy about
Such
that.
is the point.
And I was like, well, like right now it's under your Facebook and then my Instagram, and
Yeah.
it goes on my YouTube channel. And I was like, I'd love to have a name for it
Mm-hmm.
so we could refer to it. And so I asked you guys to submit your ideas, and we got a lot of really nice ideas and good names. But our favorite, came from Claire, who said, why don't you call it Living Opera? Because that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's it.
That's a good idea.
So, and speaking of teams, like she officially became like part of my team.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, you're
Part of the team.
You're naming
You're naming
my
stuff.
series, our series. Then you're part of the team.
You're part of the team.
So welcome to Living Opera
Living Opera.
with Norman and Sula.
Norman Sula.
And today,
Should I use Norm or Norman?
Norman.
Okay, we'll use
I
my
don't know.
full name.
We can put it to another vote. It doesn't matter.
I think Norman's good.
But,
That'll be fine.
What were we talking about? Yeah, teams. Sorry, this is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's Sarah Bear. We're gonna see you later today, Sarah. That's fun. That's Norman's cousin. Okay, so yeah, we wanted to talk to you guys about building your team.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to start us off?
Start us off. I'm gonna start us off. Here we go. Your team. So the thing about a team is that number one, and you were talking about this, team is just a word to describe it. You can call it anything you want, but it's really just about people and relationships that you have in your life that take care of different aspects of your life, that help you monitor and take care of those things that you respect and that you allow to advise and to speak into your life.
Yeah.
That's what a team is. You can call it a team or a group or folks, or it doesn't matter what you call it, but that's all it is. That's what it is. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
So
like the first point that I wrote down is that who you have around you and who you take your advice from and your life cues from, or whatever you want to call it, will determine your development.
Yep.
And that's why it's so important who you have around you, because if it goes into what you were saying last week about what you feed yourself with. Where do you get your information from? So if you have people around you who are not filling you up with good advice and advice that helps you develop as a person, then your development will be stagnated, because you can only go so far in your own strength with your own knowledge and everything. Then you're going to need to get help in different areas.
And that's another thing, is you can't just life in general, but this job, you can't do it on your own.
That's right.
You can't do it by yourself. You need people. You need help.
Yes.
And obviously that certainly applies to life as well, but it applies to everything. So
yes,
you need help. You need advisors. You need people you trust.
Yes.
And yeah,
I wanted to talk about like leadership, because within your relationships, it's kind of funny. Like I wrote down my two different ideas about leadership, because on one hand, you are the leader of your team. It's up to you, because it's your career, to create the vision for what you want to create. Now, as you're starting out, that can be a bit overwhelming, but
you'll develop that as you go.
As you go along, and if you're, if you have good people around you helping you to develop as an artist and as a person, you will naturally want to expand what you're doing with your artistic life and hopefully with other parts of your life. So I just wrote down that they are there to help you to realize a vision that you yourself create. It's your responsibility to create it, at least in part. But I mean, I think as you age, it's fully your responsibility.
It becomes more clear.
Right, as you
age,
as
it'll
you
become
find
clearer.
your place in the business also. Because if I'm just relying on somebody else who has 30, 40, 50, 100 artists, depending on your agent, to take care of the vision for your career, inevitably they don't have time in the day. So I think that's a good point. Like the number one person I put on the vocal team, right? Because of different areas of your life that need team and management.
Exactly.
Team and management.
We broke it down.
So I mean, the most obvious one that you guys know about is your agent. But we had a whole separate talk on agents, so go back and listen to that if you want. But I feel like, because we have the same management now, which is actually kind of fun. Part of our job, because they have so many artists, is to call up and say, look, I've had this idea. This is what I'm doing to execute it. Can you bring anything to the table? And suddenly it's a collaborative effort. And it's not just me calling and saying, oh no, my calendar, why don't I have jobs? Which is like, of course we need jobs. But I think it's a much more healthy conversation to have with that part of your team.
And also it takes more than just you oftentimes to make something happen.
Yeah.
If you're trying to create something, you need help making all of it come
together.
Pass and come together.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
Your team that's what your team is. Your team is a group of people that helps you bring your vision to pass. That's what
you
it
made
is.
some good points about the vision. Maybe you should talk about that.
So I did a few things. Number one, your team. About the team itself, your team they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be failures. There are going to be things that, it's just not, or they're just some things are just not going to work. And that's okay.
Yes, your team is
that's
made
a
of
part
humans,
of it. They're made
and
of
humans aren't perfect. They make mistakes.
And so it's not about, you don't need to make mistakes or things. it should work. No, it's not going to happen. Things are going to fail. They're not going to work.
Yeah.
It's trial and error.
Yes.
It's trial and error. There is trial and error. So it's just more about, okay, that didn't work. How can we refocus or whatever and really bring something out of this?
Your point about the vision was really good,
Yeah.
because like what I was talking about, I was saying like it's you give somebody an assignment or a task.
Yeah.
But I think what you said, what you wrote down there was really,
Well, your vision,
really
I
good.
mean, the reason we're talking about vision is because if you don't have a vision,
You can't instruct your
you
team.
can't necessarily
what
instruct
to help
your
you do.
group to what to do, exactly. So your vision always looks forward. It doesn't look backwards.
Yes.
It doesn't look at what has failed or what hasn't worked. It takes that and uses the experience, but it always looks forward. It always moves forward. It will not dwell there. It won't stay there. Because if you
Yes.
stay there, your vision definitely won't happen.
Right.
You've got to go forward. When something doesn't work, you go, bam, it's done, move on. And so your vision always looks forward. Also, a vision will cost you something.
Yes.
It will cost you your time. You'll have to be disciplined. You'll have to be focused. You'll have to be determined. And you'll have to sacrifice certain things.
Yes.
You'll have to sacrifice certain things in your life. And so you have to determine, one of the things you have to ask yourself, and you'll ask yourself, it's not just like you ask yourself this question once and then you're done forever. No, you'll ask yourself often, is the vision that I'm going for worth what it is costing me?
Yes. Like, is it
Is
worth?
it worth?
I mean, for us, for example,
Mhm.
is it worth knowing like I'm only going to get to spend a week at home every 6 months
Yeah,
because I'm trying to build something specific?
exactly.
We've calculated the
Yeah.
cost and said,
And later that will
Yes, it
change
is.
if these things take place,
Yes.
Then you have more free time later. But when you're building it,
yeah.
you're going to have to sacrifice things.
That's something I made a point here that you just sort of sparked.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into like specific roles, specific jobs and things and people that
Yeah.
you need around you to make a cohesive career and vision. But I like to think of sort of the people around me in two different categories. It's probably more than that. Actually, it's definitely more than that.
Yeah.
But I think about some teams are building and creative teams, while others are support teams. So, like the building and creative team would be, I guess we can just get into that. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
You're-
tell them about how you broke it down first. I think you
well,
broke that down
okay, well,
into areas.
I was thinking about different areas of our lives, like things that we, as we've gotten older and we've advanced in the business, things that we have had to pay attention to. We talked about the performance anxiety last week, and for us, we realized we hadn't really been taking the right kind of care of our mental, physical, spiritual
yeah.
health, and we were like, well, that doesn't work because we have to be well.
Yep.
So I just made a list here of different aspects of your life, and then you can search out people who
Yeah.
are going to support you in those areas. Obviously your vocal team, that's the most obvious one. Your agent, your teacher, your coach, things like that. But I said vocal, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, personal, and the list can go on depending on whatever demands are
Whatever
on
you-
you. Also, if you're a mom or dad in this business, of course you're going to have a team to help you manage the kids and all of that. I mean, it's so complicated. So some teams are building teams or creative teams,
Yep.
and some are support teams. And like an example I put here, for me, my agent is not part of my support team. He is part of my building
Yep.
team, my building and creative team. If I'm looking for emotional support, I'm not going to go there. And I think a lot of singers do that, and I understand that because sometimes you're just super frustrated and they're close to you and they're invested in your career. But I think it's much more healthy and rewarding to seek out that kind of emotional support from somebody whose relationship isn't a business relationship necessarily, because your agent is there to sort of help you see through the vision for your career. But if I'm calling them all the time, and I have friends who are agents as well who don't necessarily work with us, and I think it's hard on them because they love their clients and they want to support them and help them, but their primary job isn't to take care of your mental or emotional stability. It's to find you work. So
and support you in that. At that
Yes.
point, they support. But
so that's just one example that if you're trying to realize a specific vision, you want to keep each person in their lane. So if I call Daniel, I'm not calling him to be like, I just got really upset about something. I might mention it in passing, but the
Yeah.
objective of the phone call
Yeah.
is to say, hey, I've had this idea. I know you have XYZ skills. Would you be interested in
Yeah.
facilitating this project in this way, and we just had a conversation like that the other day. And then it puts it on his mind, and he's, you know, anyway, that's just one
As
example.
opposed to, you wouldn't call and ask him a question that would be for a therapist.
Hopefully
You would
not.
ask him a
Hopefully
question
not.
that's about your,
Hopefully
you know,
not.
you're trying to do work-wise. That's
but-
why, that's keeping everybody in their lane is really
Yes.
important, actually, because that's where they are their strongest. They'll give you the best advice.
Yes.
They'll give you the best work when they are
Yes.
in their lane, and you the same. You know, you stay in your lane.
That's right.
You don't want to get out over here into areas you don't know anything about, and people do that all the time.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
And
Oh, can I just jump
Yep.
in and say one thing? Singers. I've done this as
Yes,
well.
I'm a
so
singer.
So no, but like
you're talking
there-
to me.
There's don't do this thing.
Okay.
If you are looking for management, or you're looking for, you know, something, if you have an agenda behind asking for a meeting, so like a lot of times singers will say to an agent, oh, could you just hear me and give me some advice? Is that really what you're asking for, or are you asking for representation? Don't do that.
Be specific.
Just be like, I'm looking for representation.
Yeah.
And then you can say, like, I know your roster is really busy. Would you hear me? That is actually what I want out of this. I don't really want to hear your opinion of my high C, unless you can
Yeah.
like physically help me make it better.
Be very specific. Yep.
So that's just,
For sure.
again, that's just an opinion, but like it's just easier and better, and then you won't get hurt by weird advice that doesn't help you. And you know, that's what we're hoping to avoid. So within this team, like we have said, the onus is on the singer to create the vision, but then within certain kinds of teams, like you will be the leader of the vision, but let's say you're going to a voice teacher and they know more than you.
Which they will.
Yes,
Yeah.
almost always.
Almost
Hopefully,
always.
if they're good, they're going to know more than you. So their job is to train and equip and create an environment where you can flourish and succeed. It doesn't change your overall vision, but you are submitting to their
Yeah.
expertise and authority in that moment.
Yeah.
And you want to find people like that as well, people who grow you. I always think about development on 3 levels, right? So I'm here, and then there's people up here who I want to know what they know. So
Yeah.
I submit myself to their expertise and I ask good questions. Then I've got people on my level that I support and help, you know.
And who, vice versa.
Yeah, and then I've got people who are trying to come up and get to this one that I pour into.
Yep.
So
That's good.
yeah, and so but see, somebody down here who's trying to get up to this level or this level, they can still be part of my team because
Oh yeah.
you know they might have some knowledge, a field of knowledge that adds to my life. Anyway, it's not about, anyway, sorry, I'm getting
Sometimes
off track.
perspectives. You know, those perspectives see things differently,
Yes.
and that can help you.
I'm trying to think here. Like, okay, should we just literally talk about like
Yeah, I mean,
certain people?
there when you talk about our team, we'll use our team just as an
Okay,
example.
that's a good idea.
Kind of as a
Yeah.
template, and then you guys just use it.
So-
You make whatever template you want. So
Yes. So okay, wait, I already made like
yeah, you made a list.
I've
there.
got like 6 different people.
So when it comes to the vocal aspects, which is your voice teacher, your agent, and your coaches,
Yeah.
we have our voice teacher,
Yes.
Sherman. We have our
Yes.
agent, Prima Fila,
Yeah.
and we have our
Various coaches
various coaches.
in different places.
Yeah.
And we sort of, it's pretty consistent, right?
Yeah, and it's the same. It's usually generally just kind of the same group. And you know, if you expand the only things that would expand really are coaches from that group.
For different
because if you
repertoire.
go to different,
Yeah.
you know, you're traveling all the time and you need to see a pianist or a coach, then you may
Sometimes you
add.
just have to do what you can do.
You just do what you can do.
Right, but we have a pretty, like, I
Yeah.
would say we have about 4 or 5 people that we have in rotation that know
Who are
our
great.
voices and
Yeah,
can give us
great.
the right advice. And we've already talked about agents. Probably we'll have to have a talk about your relationship with your voice teacher at some point and what to expect out of them and the boundaries of that relationship too, because
Yeah.
there have been,
Boundaries are big.
I've gotten some
Boundaries are big.
messages from people saying, hey, you know, can you give me advice about this relationship? And
Yeah.
you know, of course, I've heard great things and also crazy things. So maybe we'll talk about that. But your agent,
Boundaries also in life. Remember that for life too. Not
Maybe
just.
we'll do a whole boundaries
We'll do a
talk.
boundaries talk. There you go.
agent, teacher.
Yep.
coach.
Boom.
Of course, we talked about performance anxiety last time.
Yeah.
So, like, if you suffer from that, you might need a therapist.
Yeah.
We have one. She's here in South Carolina.
Yeah, she's here
We
too.
love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. Actually, we would suggest actually whether you have performance anxiety or not, as a performer, talk to somebody.
Yes. It's very good
Talk
to do that.
somebody, build up that strength in your mind so that if you don't have performance anxiety,
You don't develop
you don't
it.
ever develop it
Heavens, what a thought.
because you're strong enough in your mind. It's that preemptive strike.
Oh, that. It was so sweet yesterday because the girl that, hey Daniel, the girl that works on our backs and everything, I was telling her about this
She's
series.
our physical therapist.
Yes.
There you go.
And I said, hey, we have this series now, and she's like, oh, am I part of your team? And I was like, yeah, you are.
We come here. Part of the reason we come to Charleston is to see her.
It seriously is.
Yeah. There are a few reasons. We see the
Well,
family.
we have like
Yeah.
a huge
A whole
part
group.
of our support team in this one city.
Yep.
So it makes sense for us to come back here.
Yep.
And something I was thinking about that is super important is you need a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
You need a mentor, and I don't mean a role model because that's sort of like putting someone up on a pedestal, but a mentor, somebody that is in it, who is actively doing what you want to do, that can give you solid advice, that is invested in you, and that will be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that some of you have written and said that you feel like we are your mentors, and I am so, like,
Really? That's nice.
yeah,
Oh, that's
it's really sweet, and we're grateful to do that. We're happy to do that. But it's somebody that you are willing to get real talk from, and then real support also, right? Not just somebody who's going to tell you, oh, it's all going to turn out, it's all going to be fine, but can actually give you like piece by piece, like advice, like this is how I did this at this stage. This is how I built this particular part of my career. You need somebody who will mentor you to the next level.
And it won't be so that you can become them.
No, that's what a
very
great point.
important.
Yes.
You're not going to
Howdy,
become...
Daniel. It's not. Is this a howdy area?
It's a South. You can
Yeah.
do a
Okay.
howdy
Howdy. Howdy, y'all.
here. It's not that you're going to become then exactly like
I love real
I love
talk.
real talk. Like your mentor. You're not going to be your mentor. You're going to be you. But what you take that advice, you take their experience, and you use what you can pull from that,
Yeah.
and build who you are,
Yeah.
and build who you are as a person or a singer or an artist or whatever.
That's good.
That's what you do.
I mean,
but
like,
you're not going to become them.
I was trying to I'm not going to say everybody's name on this video, but like I was trying to work out who that is for us. And one of our mentors, I would say, is Chichidia, because we've been really observing how she does things, and we've been fortunate to
Yeah.
watch her also behind the scenes, how she organizes things, how she thinks. She has taken time to give us real advice
Yeah.
about how to build things. That's an amazing resource that we're so grateful for.
Yeah.
But that can be available. I mean, not necessarily Chichilia, but like somebody
Oh,
who
but there are a
who
lot
can
of
speak
people.
into you.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it requires a humility on your part to say, hey, I don't know how to do that, and I need help. But most people, when they see somebody who's truly genuine, are happy to give us some kind of advice or some kind of
Oh,
experience.
yeah, for sure.
You know?
Because every singer, every artist knows about, when they've been in the business, been in and out for 15 years, what people are going through before you, at least in part. And so, we're supposed to help each other.
Yes.
So, hey Martin, how are you, man?
I'm trying to see what else. I think we've done all the notes that I said. Oh, this is something else. Okay, well, are we done with this? Did we finish this?
Yeah, I
Is
mean, we have our vocal coaches, we have our physical therapists, we have our therapists, we have spiritual advisors, we
Yes.
have financial advisors.
Yes.
And
Oh,
so,
this is another one I thought about, and this might be a little bit unusual, but you need an advocate in the business.
by that
And
should be your
of course,
agent.
yeah,
That is your agent.
Is your agent, but
That's
then
your agent.
there are going to be
There are other
people,
people.
and you'll just identify them as you go along, who you just know they're behind you.
Yeah.
And we've had those people. We have those people now, and it's not that you're always in contact with them all the time,
Yeah.
but you can see moments where they have stepped in to make
Yeah.
sure that you get a breakthrough or an opportunity.
Yeah.
And knowing that those people are there can be a great comfort. Like, man, that person is behind me. And the truth is, it only takes one of those people to open a door for you. They can just expand that whole thing. And it's
Yeah.
just super cool when that happens. And it will happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe I've seen it happen with me, happen with Norman. I think it has to do with perspective too, because some people, well, anyway, I don't want to go down that road, but like, if you've ever really had a career in this business, somebody at some point has stepped in and said, I think that person
Yep.
should have a shot. It has happened for you if you've ever had a job somewhere.
Yep.
Right? So, but if there's somebody who's consistently behind you, man, that's a huge gift.
Yep.
And we've been so fortunate to have that. So,
Indeed.
okay, I'm going to do the list one more time, and
Yeah.
then we can just do a few more general points, because we've said there are building teams and there are support teams.
Yeah.
And this is more generally for singers, but you will identify those people depending on your personal needs. So your agent, your teacher, your coach, your mentor, your therapist. For me, this is like non-negotiable for singers. You need somebody that helps you with your mental health.
Yep.
And an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And that list will grow
Yep.
as your assignment grows. You know, we are trying to learn how to do things with producing, which we don't know how to do, so we are consulting people who have done that.
Yep.
They know more than us. You know, we had
Lots.
an amazing meeting.
Lots more than us.
We have a vision for a nonprofit we would like to create. We literally have no idea how any
Yep.
of that works from any aspect, apart from we've performed with nonprofit opera companies. So we went this week, we were in New York for like a day and a half. We went to Sing for Hope to ask them, like, how did you build this incredible
Awesome.
organization?
Yeah.
And if you all don't know that organization, you need to go and look them up, because they do a lot of
Sing
great
for Hope.
work.
Ton
and
of
it
great
just
work.
it started with a vision to help people, and it has expanded and grown over how many years are they doing? Like 15 years?
Maybe, yeah. It's been a
So-
long time. It's been around as long as I can remember.
So, you know, I think the
They
main
started-
the
but they
main
started
thing,
around that
you know,
time.
guys, like this like project, it just started with an idea to help somebody, and it's small. Like we already had our iPhones, and we
We bought a
bought
tripod.
tripods.
What about 2 tripods? Exactly.
But just starting, I think
Yeah.
I think Wordsworth said, you know, to begin. So if there's something
Yep.
you have on your heart, you don't have to have the whole vision
No.
in place. Just start.
Start with
And-
the idea.
or even starts with like one conversation with somebody you trust, and they get excited, and it builds from there.
Yep.
So, like we said in the beginning, this is all about the relationships that you want to cultivate. You can call it a team, you can call it whatever you want, but those relationships are going to propel you hopefully forward if they are healthy.
Yep.
And this is my last point I wanted to make. We sort of freaked out our managers this week.
Yes.
They did really great work for us, and this is a little bit of a culture thing, but we were like, we have to send them something. They've done so, we're so grateful for what they did. We believe in showing appreciation for your team. Now, you don't have to do what we did. We wanted to make a gesture, but just saying thank you.
Be grateful.
Be grateful.
Be
They are
grateful.
working for you. Hopefully they are trustworthy and working hard for you.
Yep.
Okay? We like to send gifts. We often, if we haven't seen somebody in a while, we always treat people. It's not because we're like loaded down with all kinds of money, but it's like a way
It doesn't take. But it doesn't take much to be
but like
grateful.
it's
It
just
doesn't
like,
take
you know
much
what,
to
I'm
be-
going to buy the lunch, and just let's not think about it.
You don't have to spend $10,000.
Showing
on somebody.
gratitude in whatever way you can show it.
Yep.
It's just a way of celebrating that person, celebrating their efforts, saying thank you. There's David. I just think it's a great way, it should be genuine, and for us it is a genuine pleasure.
It's
like,
not about. Yeah, that's
it's not
another
trying
thing.
to
It's not
do
trying to
some
manipulate
weird,
anything.
No, but it's just
It's
like,
just literally.
and now you are grateful. Oh, did you finally crack it open, Daniel?
Good.
We said,
And-
they Prima Fila just solved a huge problem for us, and we were so grateful. We sent them a bottle of champagne, and we just, for us, like, it wasn't a big deal, but anyway.
It's good. I hope that you all. Did you drink it? Hi.
Hey, David.
Hey,
Toulon,
David.
from Toulon. Cool. We're talking about teams, but really it's mostly about your relationships with
Team
people.
building, yeah, with people.
And so we've just said, you need a creative, building team. You also need a personal team to take care of different aspects of your
Support.
life,
Yep.
because you don't want to become isolated in this business.
It's already isolated enough. You're alone all the time.
Oh, they haven't. Oh, yeah, right. I think Federico's still traveling, so they haven't cracked
okay.
it yet. It's on ice.
But we're alone all the time.
Yes.
That's what part of the job. That's part of the job that people don't
Talk
tell you about or
Actually,
talk about.
That's so funny, because today I was thinking to myself, I was getting ready for this. I was like, we need to talk about loneliness.
Loneliness is huge.
How to combat loneliness.
It's huge.
Such a huge one.
It's huge. And because you go on the road, it's not a lot of times you may know your colleagues, you may not know your colleagues. Hey, Mark. And so, you know, if you're just in some town by yourself
It can be
and
really
you're there
hard.
for 2 months, you know, you're there for 2 months by yourself. And even if you develop friendships, that may not mean you're necessarily close, and there's still distance. So loneliness is a tricky one for what we do. So that support and that help is huge. It's
Yes.
huge as an artist, and the strength that you need to deal with those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's you need a lot.
I get lonely on the road, but can't wait to start traveling if I'm home too long. I know,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's crazy,
We
right?
get that one
we're
too.
the same.
I mean, we're the same.
It's,
Yeah.
I think it's just, you know, you get bitten by the travel bug, and then it's hard
Yeah.
to be like, oh, I'm just going to sit here for 6 months.
Every time we sit somewhere for too long, we get antsy.
We feel it too.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I think having the right kind of relationships, this can really help with all of this, because it
Yep.
is a very unusual. Anyway, we feel guilty. Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate. We have an amazing, interesting job, but you know, on the other hand, there are ways. Well, we can talk, David. We can just talk about that. We won't get into that. So, did we cover it more or less?
I think we covered
I mean,
it.
we could probably go on, but I think you get the idea.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
need,
this is,
you know, the message is you need relationships. You need healthy relationships, and hopefully you can be that for somebody else too. We try to do that, of course, with this project, but privately as well.
and if you have any questions about this that we didn't answer
Yeah.
or we didn't talk about,
Yeah.
ask us,
Yes.
and we will certainly try to answer it.
Yes.
So
Oh, I wanted to make another announcement.
you did.
Yeah. I mean, we made an announcement that we have the name for this
Yeah, we have a name
project.
for it. For
But
anybody
I
coming
also,
in late,
I also
we have a name for it.
want to make an announcement that I just found out this week I'm going to make my debut in the United States.
That's
next
right.
season. I'm not going to say
Yes. Bam.
what, but I'm very, very excited about that. And it's
Yay.
just really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. Once
That
it's-
was fireworks, by the way.
yeah.
If you're wondering what that was, hey, Brad Bean.
So yay! Yes,
I
yes,
did this.
Daniel. Yes. And Steve, this is also. I'm not going to tell the story right now about how that happened, but it's an example of your team functioning well and just really, yeah,
Yeah.
and good relationships and all of that kind of thing. I know. I'm like, it's really fun. So okay, I think we covered it more or less. I mean,
That's
again,
it.
again, we could go super complex and super.
Brad, what am I watching? You're watching us sit in.
We're in
We're in
Charleston, South Carolina.
You're watching us sit in the backyard.
You're also watching us after like 3 or 4 days of vacation, so we're like, oh, what's
like
this
this.
video about?
Yeah. We're talking about, or we talked about now actually.
Yeah, we're done
team
now.
building.
Yes.
Building groups of the people in your life that help you, support you. In
Yes.
our particular context, our business.
And we talked about certain
yep.
people and certain relationships that you should cultivate to be really healthy and well in your team atmosphere. But you could certainly we did a whole talk about agents, and that's part of your team. But we could certainly talk about how to have an effective coaching, your teacher, what your mentor-mentee relationship should look like. This is a very broad topic.
It's quite broad.
But it is to get you all thinking about who you want to.
Help build with.
Yes.
Who do you want to build with?
Because otherwise you're just kind of stuck on your own, and you can feel really helpless really quickly as a singer, because you can't control who likes you. You can't control which engagements you get necessarily. I mean, you can try, but
Yeah.
like everybody can. Well, I won't go down there. But
And
like,
there does need to be
I was gonna say
now.
something. I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
Now there
welcome.
also has to be this kind of, because of the way the business has changed and the way it's moving, we do need this kind of entrepreneurial aspect to our
For
thinking.
real.
This creative thing, not just as a, okay, I want to, as an artist, I want to create something like this, but you have coming to a point where you're thinking of different creative outlets to produce projects and to produce things that sustain you and move you forward. It's not just relying on the business and within that business to come up with the ideas, but you yourself come up with ideas, and they kind of all interact with one another.
Yes.
And this is really important. And the way the business is going and the way it's changed, that is an important aspect.
Yeah. I mean, we could even just take the example of
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
We won't go into all that now, but like, you know, anymore people record their own albums and usually sell
Yeah.
them to a label to do the
a
distributing.
distributor.
You know, not all the time, but a lot of times that's one way. In the past, it wasn't like that.
Yep.
So, you know, we have to grow and change as our business grows and changes.
Yep.
And, you know, with all of this talk, I mean, my hope is that by us pouring into you guys, one of you all will rise up and be the one that,
Yeah.
you know, propels this business forward. Because
It
we
is-
always need people who have a vision for the future. And it's not self-evident that, you know, well, so I don't end on a gloomy note, but culture needs people who tend it. And
Yeah.
so we have to think this way
Yep.
in order to make sure that culture
keeps
stays an
going
important
forward.
part of society.
Yeah.
We can never take for granted that it's just going to be there. But we need to be involved and taking responsibility
Yep.
for it as well, as much as we can,
Yep.
creating and helping each other also. You know, we were at a dinner table this week and I just looked at our colleagues and said, you know, nobody is taking your job. Now, you all can just disagree with that. Nobody's taking my job. What?
I agree.
Just looking at me? Okay.
No, I agree. You know,
There
it's
are just
one
some
of those
opportunities
things.
that are yours, is what
There's
I'm
some
trying to say.
opportunities that are yours.
And I just don't need to worry about what XYZ Soprano's doing over there. It's
And
all
plus,
good.
that will also, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
Oh, and by the way, if you have a job, somebody believes that you've taken their job.
It's very possible that someone believes
So
that
this
you've
is like,
stolen
you just don't even think on that.
it.
No one could take your job. I know. No one could take your job, Daniel. No one.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. That whole thing.
So, you know, anyway.
It's all okay.
I don't want to get into Tangentville. I feel like
Let's not go on a tangent.
me. No, it's me.
No. Let's
I
not
know.
go on a tangent. No tangents.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna get more relaxed.
Get
I'm just
get
gonna
relaxed
sit down
again.
in the chair.
Here, wait.
Guys, enjoy the marsh. Yes. We have another massage on Monday. I'm gonna be incoherent
Yeah,
by Tuesday.
it's the most relaxed I see her in our entire relationship. The only time I've ever seen her this relaxed is when we come here
Yes.
and we work with Margot. By the way, if you ever come to Charleston, South
We
Carolina,
will hook you up.
we'll hook you up with Margot. She's awesome. And then she's like this.
Yeah.
There it
I mean,
is.
y'all.
That's the only time.
I didn't look
Any
at,
other time
I
you ever
mean,
see
I
her,
put my
meet
phone
her,
away
run
for,
into
like,
her? No.
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 Don't do that. I'll be
She's
like,
not. She's like, woo!
But I put my phone away
Yeah.
for like a good 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I think so. You may have not been on it for like 3-4 hours. See there?
That's
What are you doing
relaxed.
with your face right now?
I'm showing them like how serious that was, and also scaring them because I don't put concealer on today. It's all good.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're did. I think this.
I
is,
think
I
that's
this is
it.
done.
All right,
I think
everybody.
this is done.
Buffet.
We're done. Hey Bonnie, yes, we're in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's gorgeous.
It's very peaceful.
You'll have to catch the replay. We hope this helped you guys.
Yeah.
We have several different topics people have asked us about, so I'm trying to think about what would be a good progression. And this is Living Opera. And
Living Opera, here
there
we
will,
are.
There will be. Oh yeah, well you know, it's sunny out here. There
You
will,
like hers or mine? Sunglasses.
Okay, good, Bonnie. Watch it. He likes both of our
I
sunglasses.
hope you like
Babe,
both, or I'm
babe,
gonna be offended.
We're trying to wrap this up.
I'm
I
just
want to say
kidding.
one more thing. Babe.
What?
There is going to be a Living Opera website. It's being built right now.
Yep.
And it's going to have, he likes both of them. It's going to have all the videos, and so it'll all be in one place for you. And we are just looking forward to how this is expanding and growing.
Yep. Piece
And-
by piece, step by step.
Yes. And we thank all of you for your
So give
support.
us the name.
Living Opera.
Yeah. Living Opera. That's it. That's the name. Ta-da!
So it'll be live soon. It's still being built, and
Yep.
yeah, there it is, everybody.
There you go.
So yeah, this was our
Let's do
first
this.
video stateside, first video on vacation, post massage. We hope it made sense.
Yeah. Hopefully we sounded coherent.
Yeah.
I think we did all right.
So fancy.
Yeah.
So fancy. Alrighty, well guys, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. wonderful week, and we
Wish
will
you all
catch
the
up
best,
with
guys.
you
We'll see you next week.
from Florida.
I think we're in Florida next week.
Florida.
So
All right.
there you go.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye bye.